Jealousy can be a really useful emotion because it can show us what we want. So if you are jealous of somebody because they are really intelligent, maybe you don't feel intelligent. It doesn't mean you're not intelligent, but maybe you don't feel it and you don't feel like people perceive you as intelligent. Maybe you don't feel like you get to talk about the things you want to talk about. Maybe you are not researching the things you want to research or doing the job you want to do. And that's why you don't feel intelligent. Use the jealousy as an excuse to self-reflect and work on these things. You can feel intelligent if you work on that, if you speak with your therapist about that, if you allow yourself to lean into the things that make you feel mentally stimulated and alive and passionate and curious for more knowledge. Jealousy is a really useful emotion, and we should not punish the people we're jealous of. We should blimmin' thank them. Hello beautiful people, I'm Alessia. So today I'm going to be talking about jealousy, competitiveness between women, and why we feel the way we do, and why it's not our fault if we're comparing ourselves to our friends and not wanting the best for our female friends. I mean, it is our fault when we're fully functioning adults that can act differently, but it's not our faults when we're unaware, when we're children, when we're just copying the dynamics that we've seen play out in movies, in films, and in our daily lives. We see women competing with one another everywhere, and it's kind of just normalized and encouraged even. We live in a very competitive society where people are fighting for the attention, for the money, for the important label of celebrity. The structure of our society really does lend itself to everyone trying to get to the top and not allowing anyone else to join them up there. And I think it's particularly hard for women because we have the added layer of patriarchy. We really are further encouraged to compete with each other. And I think this is a way of disempowering us. You know, if we're all fighting with one another, we're not confining in one another. We're not gaining that support and that understanding. Nobody knows me better and understands me better than my female friends. And I feel so powerful when I'm with them, when I'm being heard by them. Of course, this society is trying to keep that kind of strength and that kind of friendship away from women. Those kind of friendships where we come together and support each other make us stronger than ever. And yeah, that threatens patriarchy. So generally speaking, in our society, men judge women and women judge women. Everybody judges women because it's within our culture, within our upbringing to doubt women's opinions, to doubt women, to doubt their worthiness, to doubt their intelligence, to doubt their capability. We see this everywhere. We see this in the TV shows we watched growing up, the films that we watched. We see this in the news articles, and we also see it in our own lives. How many times have you heard someone say, "Oh, there's something about her I don't like," or "Oh, she's just really difficult," or "I can't believe she wore that. It's so attention seeking. Why did she wear that?" How many times have you heard people say that about women? How many times have you said that about women? Even if it's problematic and it actually hurts us as a consequence because we're women too, we do get involved. I have said things about women that I wish I never said. I've thought things about women that I wish I never thought. I continue to think those things because it's really hard to work out the internalized sexism. Definitely go and research internalized sexism and get a general understanding of it, because that's where your journey starts. It takes time to unpack that and to not navigate from a place of internalized sexism. It takes being really vigilant and consistent. It's not just, "Oh, I realize that I've been conditioned to think this way, so I can just stop." You've been conditioned for years and years and years to doubt other women, to not want other women to look beautiful, to not want other women to have good things. This has been your life for so long, so it's not just going to be a quick fix. It's not going to be me saying this and you going, "Okay, I'm fixed," because I'm not a magician. And it takes work. It takes you taking things into your own hands. Yes, it's amazing that you're here acknowledging the problem. That's step one, and it's really hard to get there because we've kind of we have these blinkers on. But after you've watched this video, it's kind of on you to act differently, to challenge your behaviours, to challenge how you are with other women. I would like to thank BetterHelp for being a paid partner with this video. So I genuinely believe that therapy is for everyone. Speaking to someone about your day-to-day life, sharing your worries, your fears, your insecurities, your goals, even your happy moments are all things that you can do in therapy. In my last session with my BetterHelp therapist, we actually just spent the whole time talking about how far I've come. And it was actually a really positive and heartwarming session. My therapist has actually been alongside me for a while now. She's seen me stand up for myself. She's seen me very upset. She's seen me when I felt stuck. And she's seen me at my proudest. And she's celebrated those moments along with me. Therapy isn't always about unearthing all the negative characteristics and behaviours that we embody. It's also there as a space where you can self-reflect and celebrate yourself. So if you want to connect with a therapist like I've done, a BetterHelp therapist, go to betterhelp.com/Southerberry. I'm going to pop on the screen. Or just choose Alessia Southerberry, my channel name, when you are signing up. And then you get to enjoy a special discount for the first month. I would like to again thank BetterHelp for being a paid partner with this video. You're not going to finish this video and just suddenly want the best for other women. You have to practice being the person that you want to be. You have to kind of fake it until you make it. Honestly, I use that sentence, that phrase, so much. I always go back to it, and I really believe in it. I think the reason why I was able to post on YouTube and have the confidence to put myself out there so publicly is because I just faked the confidence, and I talked to my friends and my partners about doing it, and I didn't say, oh, I'm going to be really rubbish. I was like, I'm just going to do it, and I've got all these things I want to say, and I kind of just faked it, and then I've made it. And in a similar vein, we have to fake wanting the best for other women until it kind of happens. I personally found that giving women compliments and trying my best to uplift other women, even if it felt scary to do, doing that and leaning into being kind, enabled me in the long run to actually do that naturally and for it to feel like something I wanted to do. It took faking it until I made it. I now have a whole YouTube channel dedicated to uplifting women. I want other women to succeed. And you know what? I was in such a different place when I was younger. I didn't want the best for other women. I wanted to stand out, and that meant other women had to be invisible or less than. And I think we are kind of taught that, aren't we, through the films we watch. You know, you have to trample on all the other women to get to the top and to be chosen by the dream guy or to have the best job. There's not room for all of the women, there's only room for one. And I really understand why there is this fear that there's not enough space for us all to be successful and beautiful and happy together. I really get that. We live in a patriarchal society where women aren't uplifted, and we don't feel like, and we see that there isn't as much space for us to succeed. But things are changing, and we can encourage that by standing up for other women and advocating for other women. We can shift culture as women. We don't have to be agents of patriarchy. We can really shift things if we create a mass movement of loving women, appreciating women, trusting women's stories, opinions, voices. The media that we consume growing up teaches us things about the world and about ourselves. And when I was growing up, I saw so many films that championed the woman that stood out from the crowd, was different from the other girls. I didn't see films that allowed women to kind of rise together and grow together and achieve beautiful things together. The most empowered women I've met, the women that really genuinely like themselves, are the women that like other women and that support other women and that grow with other women. In my personal experience, I have never felt more accepting of myself, more loving of myself than when I've been friends with people that I actually want the best for. I used to have friendships based on meeting boys and drinking and partying, and I think that kind of just happens when you're kids because you don't have a strong sense of self maybe, or you haven't experienced life in profound ways, so you just kind of do your thing. Now I have friends that I just champion so much, and in turn they champion me, and I've never felt stronger. And the thing that I always remind myself of when I'm feeling really down or really scared, if work isn't working out for me, I always remind myself that I've got these friends, and I visualize their faces and I visualize our beautiful memories together, and I instantly feel better. That has actually been one of my biggest sources of comfort and power, being close to other women and being able to really love my friends. And I could only get to this point where I have these friends now by working through the internalized sexism that I had inside of me. Energies are contagious. If you are critical of the women around you, of the people around you, if you don't give out compliments freely, obviously don't force compliments, but if you're not kind and if you don't tell people when they're making you feel good, when they've done something amazing, if you hold that back, if you don't want other people to feel good, then you're going to attract that similar energy. Misery loves company. I had to really consider the friendships that I was pouring my time and energy into a few years ago, because I was noticing I was actually kind of shifting my belief system, and I was shifting how I wanted to show up in the world, and my friendships were kind of acting as barriers for me to become the version of myself that I really wanted to be. And I had to address that in order to fully shift into this vibrant version of myself. Some friendships do encourage us to not be the best versions of ourselves, to not say the best things. Some friendships are built on criticizing other people, on being nasty, on judging other women. I had those friendships, and it wasn't until I addressed that issue with those friends and I let go of some of them that I was able to fully shift into this person that was ready to celebrate other women and love other women. The friendships that I have now are based on our shared passions, our shared opinions, are based on us being able to explore our insecurities together, are based on having fun and being able to go out in nature and just be silly, are based on our mutual love for animals. They're based on things that really feel close to me and really feel a part of me, things that I would be thinking about and doing in my own company. Whereas when I was younger, my friendships were based on trying to impress boys or trying to impress each other. Some friendships are bound together by their mutual agreement to criticize other people. I think that's particularly common with women, especially when you're younger. When I was noticing that the friends that I had were based on these things that didn't feel good to participate in, like talking about other women and other people in not very nice ways, I had to have a conversation with myself and figure out actually what I wanted to do from here, because I just didn't want to go along with it. It's so easy to be in autopilot mode and just go along with things and just say the nasty things because everyone else is, and it's going to get everyone's attention. It's so easy to say things without really meaning them. But words are so powerful. If you're saying negative things, you're creating a negative energy, a negative memory, and you're surrounding yourself with that negativity. I actually had to let go of some friendships because I did communicate my desire to kind of shift the friendship dynamic, and they weren't in the place that I was in, so we couldn't grow together. We had to grow separately. And that might be the case for you. You might have friends that aren't willing to grow with you and change and be this kind of maybe better version of themselves. I know that friendship breakups are so painful. And I don't think the pain ever goes. I think there's always, if you've known someone for so long, I think there's always that little like, oh, I remember the good times with that person. That always stays. And I think that's actually really lovely because it wasn't a waste of time. You do have good memories, but if you're not able to grow together, what's the point? Is it just to avoid being lonely? I do think it's worth saying that you don't need to just drop someone if they're not on the same wavelength as you. If one of your friends says something nasty about another girl, you don't need to bin her straight away. I think there's actually a lot of advice out there right now encouraging that, to just get rid of anyone who's negative. But I think that's quite abrupt advice. It's not either black or white. People aren't just good or bad. I think, we can talk with one another and try and see if the person is receptive to what you're thinking and experiencing right now. They might be saying these things because they just want to be your friend and that's how they've made friends in the past. And you can call them out on it, and maybe it will enable them to have a realization and to be like, actually, don't want to be saying this nasty thing about this other woman. Thank you for allowing me to realize that and to question that. And I would love to talk about something else with you. We can shift together, I think, as friends. And I think it's something that I was thinking earlier today. I really want to be friends with people that I know I can grow with and who aren't stuck in one way of thinking or existing. I want all my friends to challenge me. And I want to be able to challenge them, vice versa. I don't ever want to be stuck in one way of communicating. Okay, my lovely. So earlier on, I told you to fake it until you make it, to act upon your desire to treat women well and to want the best for other women. I'm going to give you some actions now that you can go out and do now in the next few days to get the ball rolling and to kind of shift your way of behaving into a more kind and loving way. So I realise I've basically already said this point a moment ago, but surround yourself with women who are able to celebrate other women, who want the best for other women. Seek out people that are not energized and excited to meddle in other people's business. If you find that you gravitate towards people that love drama, I really encourage you to question why. Is that like a comfortable way of communicating and connecting with someone for you? Are you used to having conversations about other people? Is it scarier to speak about yourself? Do you know how you would speak about yourself? Do you feel like you're in touch with yourself and what you'd want to share? I know these are all quite big questions, but yeah, our friendships, our connections with the people around us say a lot about ourselves. So maybe have a little journal session and figure these things out. Why are you attracted to the people you're attracted to? Why are you making the friends that you're making? And also please bear in mind that we gravitate towards what we're used to, what we're comfortable with, even if what we're comfortable with is actually very uncomfortable and negative and not very nice and not very good for our self-esteem. It's so much easier to lean into what you're used to than to do something completely different and new. Please just be empathetic with yourself and go easy on yourself. This is a difficult thing. The people that we surround ourselves with are like mirrors to us. Okay, my next action that I want to encourage you to do is to compliment other women. Now, I don't mean force compliments and say things like, oh, you're so pretty, I love your dress, or oh God, you're so funny. Don't force things. Don't give a disingenuous compliment out. One, because you're not going to feel that. It's just going to be something you say and you forget about. And two, because that's going to make other people feel distrusting in you. You know, a lot of people can sense when you mean a compliment. I certainly can. I can tell when someone's saying something that they don't mean off the whim just to be nice. I really encourage you to be genuinely kind and to share when you have good thoughts about people. I think it's actually really common for us to not share our compliments with the people in our lives because it's cringy. I don't remember one time when I've been given a compliment where I thought, oh, you're so cringy. That does not happen. People love to hear good things about themselves. So dish out compliments to the women around you when you're thinking them in your head. And if you don't find that you are thinking them in your head, be a bit more proactive and reflect on how these women make you feel. Do they make you feel safe? Do you have a laugh with these women? Well, tell them. Tell them that their laugh is so infectious and it's just so fun to be around them. What you're essentially doing when you're complimenting someone is you're giving them a reason to celebrate themselves. You are facilitating them liking themselves. Isn't that so amazing? That you can say something, it doesn't take a lot, you just say it, and they can carry that compliment with them for years. When you can give another woman a chance to celebrate herself through complimenting them, particularly if you're saying something about their personality, you know, something a bit more profound and specific to them, you are doing something amazing for yourself. When I compliment my friends and I see the smile on their face and I feel the happy, warm energy between us, it genuinely just makes me feel at peace and happy, and I get to have the joy with them. I get to experience that joy with them. You know, the compliment isn't just for your friend, for that other person, it's for you too. You're saying those lovely things, so you're surrounding yourself with that lovely energy, and it's a memory that you will have too. You're surrounding yourself with positivity if you're saying positive things to other people. I know that this might sound all quite woo-wooey and hard to grasp, but you know it when you experience it. I have never felt bad when I've given a compliment to someone that I genuinely mean. If you have a friend who you like hanging out with, but sometimes you feel insecure around because maybe you think she's really beautiful, or maybe you think, oh, she's just so charismatic and she always gets people coming up to her wanting to spend time with her, and it makes me feel less than. Hold space for that feeling. You don't have to fight that feeling or ignore that feeling. Hold space for it, acknowledge it, watch over it, but do not allow that feeling to turn into an aggressive action. Your friend who is charismatic might not feel great about herself. She might not even realize that she's charismatic. So what you could do is you could tell her that, and actually not keeping that bottled in. Oh, she's just so charismatic, I wish I was like her. If you don't keep that bottled in, if you share that with her and you say, actually, do you know what? You're so infectious to be around and people just gravitate towards you. It's really amazing. If you share that with them, you release that pent-up thought. Don't doubt the power of externalizing your thoughts. When we keep things to ourselves, they weigh more. And also, if you find particular aspects of a woman, of your friend, intimidating or hard to compliment because you're jealous, use that as ammunition to foster that within yourself. I've actually made a video on this topic before, which I encourage you to watch. And I don't want to repeat myself because I want to add something new with this video, but I will say, and I said this in this video, jealousy can be a really useful emotion because it can show us what we want. So if you are jealous of somebody because they are really intelligent, maybe you don't feel intelligent. It doesn't mean you're not intelligent, but maybe you don't feel it and you don't feel like people perceive you as intelligent. Maybe you don't feel like you get to talk about the things you want to talk about. Maybe you are not researching the things you want to research or doing the job you want to do. And that's why you don't feel intelligent. Use the jealousy as an excuse to self-reflect and work on these things. You can feel intelligent if you work on that, if you speak with your therapist about that, if you allow yourself to lean into the things that make you feel mentally stimulated and alive and passionate and curious for more knowledge. Jealousy is a really useful emotion, and we should not punish the people we're jealous of. We should blim and thank them. Okay, my last action for you beautiful people, thank you so much for those of you that are still watching. I really appreciate you sticking with me. I encourage you to have either a chat with your friends, with your partner, with yourself in your journal about what you learnt about female friendships growing up from the people around you, from the adults that brought you up. When we're younger, we really do absorb what the people around us are doing, and we really do learn from that. So if there was a woman in your life that didn't speak nice about other women, maybe an auntie, maybe your mother, maybe your sister, your older sister, someone you looked up to, if they spoke not very nice about other women, if they tore other women down, if they constantly criticized what other women were wearing, if they said, oh, she talks too much, she's so loud, then the likelihood is you, at some point, maybe not anymore, but at some point you learned to speak about women in a very similar way. When we're kids, we emulate what the people around us are doing. We emulate the people that we respect and we look up to. And the people that we look up to when we're kids are just human. So therefore, they are not perfect. They make mistakes. They have things that they could work on in therapy. We are like sponges when we're kids, and it's not until we're adults that we're able to actually question what we've learned. When we're kids, we really do reflect the circumstances that we're growing up in. And I think it's really important as adults that we take a moment to look back on those circumstances and to kind of question what we learned in those times and to maybe detach ourselves from a few things. If you learn disrespect for other women as a kid, it's no wonder you've brought it into adulthood. It's just an unconscious habit by then. Did you hear my hands pop then? Yeah, it's just an unconscious habit by the time you're an adult. So it really does take being conscious of things. But you've clicked on this video, so you clearly are. All right, my lovelies, thank you so much for watching. Good on you for reflecting on this topic. A lot of people will go their whole life without doing that. Please be sure to share your thoughts with me as always, and like the video if you did like it, and subscribe if you want to see my face again.